Hi everyone, it's Jill Lancet. How is everybody? We have another wet day in beautiful downtown Greystanes today. Yeah, it's been raining kind of on and off all week, but it's autumn, so yeah, that's what you can expect. Yeah, first thing I want to talk about is the second in this series of card sketches. Now, it's on page 22 in your catalogue. I hope you can see that. Let me move my cup of tea before something terrible happens. Yeah, here on page 2 of the brand new catalogue, page 22, what am I saying? There are these 22 little sketches. Now, that's an easy way to remember it. 22 sketches on page 22. Now, you'll find these scattered throughout the catalogue, cards made with these sketches, but I'm doing a series of one sketch per video. So we're up to sketch 2. Of course, you can change it up, and that's exactly what I've done. So sketch 2 is this card here for me. Now, I've got all the info written here. I will put the details in the description, okay, below the title. So it's your standard card size. Now, I use these templates. They are free, just these 2 white pieces. They come on the same page. If you'd like them, please email me at this address requesting the card templates. So we've got metric size and US letter size. I have sat down, worked it all out, what size they are. So on this one, we have a basic beige card. Now, if you were wondering what that basic beige looks like, that's what it looks like. So I've got a normal card size, whatever that be in your country. In Australia or metric, it is it's an A4 cut in half, which is 14.85 centimetres, and then it's scored at 10.5. I have a CALYPSO coral matte, and that is matte 1. So in Australia, that is 10 by 14.3 centimetres. In the US, it is 4 by 5 1/4. Please request the templates. They're going to make life so much easier for you. Then I have used a little LATTE DSP that is matte. I can't read my own writing. I think it's matte 3. So the DSP is the star of the show here. Then I have cut one of the cups from the DSP, and it just happens to be the cup that's under there. And I've mounted that up on Stampin' Dimensionals. I used a die from the Unbounded Love set. I've used the 3 stamps are from the Latte Love stamp set. I've used this gorgeous polka dot trim. Isn't it lovely? Give you a closer look at that. And then I've used these adhesive backed swirls dots. All the details will be down in the description. But yeah, just to give it a bit of interest, you can change these sketches up. I'll show you the original sketch. Hang on. What page was it? What page was it? 22. That's right. So there is their sketch of sketch number 2. I've numbered them just for ease. So there is sketch number 2. There is my rendition. My rendition. The basic idea is the same. Instead of putting the greeting there, I've put the cup across there, and I've moved a greeting up there. There's my ribbon. It doesn't go like that, but you can do whatever you like. These are like a jumping off point. And I had a lot of fun. I just went through and made a list of all of the papers that I wanted to use. I didn't even think too much about it. I just put them in order, 1 to 22 or whatever. And then I said, rightio, paper number 1 is going to be sketch number 1, and that was. So this was the second on the list, so I made it sketch number 2. So it just shows you that you can use any kind of paper, any kind of embellishments and all that sort of jazz, but that's your jumping off point. So yeah, very important to for those times when you've lost your mojo, you can't think what you're going to be doing. Yeah, really, really good idea. So thank you, Stampin' Up, for doing that. So yeah, that's sketch number 2. Okay, so the card we're making today, I love watercolouring, and I've made this card. I saw it somewhere in my travels. I tucked it away in the back of my head, and this is what I've come up with. So I'm going to show you that up close. What do you think about that? So we're going to make it today. I'm going to show you how I did that. It's really good if you've got a stamping platform. That will be really, really helpful. I'm going to show you what the 2 stamp sets that I used. The first one is the Loveliest Tree, obviously. And the greeting is, you've got this on the front of the card. You've got this. And on the inside, oh, I haven't done the inside of the card, but I will do that when we get to it. Okay, I'll explain that to you when we get there. So, yeah, you can see this has got a bit of schmutz on it. Yeah, okay, so this is what you need. This is Pebble Path. This is the card base in your country, okay, whatever your card base is. And on the template here, it explains what your card base is, what your standard sheet comes out as, and what your card base will be. And that's rain again. Yep, rain again. So that's card base number, no, that's card base, full stop. Then we have a piece of the basic beige in matte 1. I have a piece of pumpkin pie in matte 1, whatever size your country matte 1 is on that template. I have a piece of basic black. Now, I think in the US, you can just use straight out matte 3 for these 2 pieces. But in Australia, in metric, to make it fit a little bit better, I've cut the black, the basic black, at 13.1 centimetres by 8.9. And our beautiful fluid watercolour paper is 12 by 7 by 8.5, or in the US, matte 4. So matte 3, matte 4 if you're in the US, and those measurements, which will be down in the description, okay? So I've got all of my components here. Now I have set up the stamps up, the greetings up on some stamping platforms, and we'll get to that. But the first thing I want to do is some watercolouring, and I just love this. It's like almost like an abstract. So I'm going to pop my piece of Fluid 100 just on this bit of paper towel. Now I've got marks on it. Don't worry about that. Over here I've got a really large clear block. I'm going to put some pumpkin pie down here, just stamping with my ink pad. I've got some Pebbled Path, and I'm putting this down here. And I have some Cajun Craze, and I'm going to pop that down if I can get it open. Just going to pop some of that down here. Now, this is a pretty strong colour, this one here, but that's okay. Now look, I'm old school, really old. You know, the emphasis is on old. Paintbrush, jar of water. Can't help it. Can't go past those things. So you want some clean water, and all I did was, and usually this is what you do when you're starting to do these sort of abstracty sort of watercolours, is I just wet my piece of watercolour all over. just like that. And I'm sure you can see that there. You can see it's a bit shiny. If it's not shiny, give it another whack with the water. So there you go, it's all shiny. And then I did just a wash with the Pebble Path. Now I may need to add more Pebble Path. We'll just see how it goes. So I'm just doing a bit of a wash in the background here. So I'm just going over the whole piece with the Pebble Path. And it doesn't even have, like it can be streaky, it doesn't even have to be perfect. Now, while that's still wet, now I'm going to use my original card as a reference. So I do need some more Pebble Path eventually, so we might just pop some more down there. Try not to put it in the water, but there you go. So what I want to do now is I want to get some pumpkin pie. Now this is one of our focal colours. So what I want to do is I just want to kind of make a symmetrical blob, I think is the word I'm looking for, blob. And then I want to pick up some of the Cajun Craze. Now this is a really strong colour, so you may want to tone that down a little bit. That's fine. Might put some more there. Now I love the way it blooms. This is called blooming. See how it's sort of like veining out? A lot of watercolourists don't like that, but you know, I quite like it. But if that bothers you, naturally you can just go with your big brush. And you can see I'm just using this big old brush. And I'm just basically just tapping it on like that. So I've got those colours. Now they're going to dry a little bit lighter, so I can go back in later on. But I do want some Pebble Path, like some strong Pebble Path across here, like it's the skyline. We can put some more in other places as well. Now look, if that just goes on like that and you don't want it to be that dark, add water. If in doubt, add water. Okay, so I'm going to dry that off a little bit. So just talk amongst yourselves while I just get my heat gun going. And you're probably never going to get two of these the same. It just depends how much water's on the paper, how much water you've added to the inks, where you've actually put that. But yeah, it looks like a bit of a mess at the moment. Now I saw this in my travels, as I said. I don't know where I saw it. It was ages ago. Things get filed in my head and I trot them out at a later date. I go, oh, what about that thing I saw? Naturally, I can never find it. So it could well be different to what it was originally. And if it's your design, thank you so much. And if it's your design, I'm sorry if I've buggered this up. But thank you for putting this out there, whoever. Okay, so we've got this happening here. Now I definitely want some more of the Pebble Path here. I want this to be a little bit darker. I want this to represent like you know, a wintry sort of scene, and the skies are grey because they're actually really grey outside at the moment. So just a little bit more of the Pebble Path, I think. So maybe some here. Maybe darken those bits up a bit. And it's good, like with this big flat brush, you can do all sorts of things with it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not fine detail work, let's just say that. Definitely not fine detail work. Right, that's done. I'll just hit that again. And see if I do need any more brighter colours in these areas here. And I think I will. I think I will just pop some more. I'm just going to pick that up. I really want this pumpkin pie, because that's the colour we're putting behind there. So I really want some more pumpkin pie in there. I want more in here. And more down here. So it's kind of going to be like a reflection of this sky. Maybe some more of the Cajun craze. It's a very strong colour, so yep, just be careful. And I love the way it kind of gives you these hard edges. I love that. I really do. So look, I'm going to leave it at that. You could be sitting here all day doing this, but it doesn't have to be. It can be very, very quick. So I'm just going to dry this off. Now, the reason I'm drying it off is I want to do some stamping now, and if that is damp or wet, it is going to make the stamp edges bleed, just like those watercolour edges have. Okay. I think that's dry now. Pretty sure it is. Okay. So we've got this piece here. Now, as I said, I've already set up the stamping tools, the stamping platforms, and I have the gorgeous tree stamp here. So what I'm going to do is pop this in here with the magnets. Let's pop that one over there. Let's pop this magnet over here. And I'm going to just ink this up with our Memento Tuxedo Black. So I'm going to ink it up. Probably a good idea to do it this way. Now it's meant to look like a silhouette, and yeah, I mean, there were no instructions to this card. I just saw the card. And now, because this is a watercolor piece, it's quite thick and it can be quite warpy, but it's also textured. So sometimes you need to stamp it a few times. Now, that's okay if you're, you know, if you can stamp that in the same place, that's brilliant. But I'm not that clever, I'm afraid. So I need this. The texture will stop the ink from getting right into the bits and pieces, but with the stamping tool, you can just keep going over it and over it and over it. So let's just see. Now I'm giving that a really good amount of pressure, and you know, as I said, we might have to do this a couple of times. So you can see how the texture or the tooth of the watercolor paper, you know, it's sort of like lumpy and bumpy, although it's very, very slight to the eye, it's still there. So you want to do this a few times, so you can determine how dark you want this. So I just keep going over it a few times, and then I'm going to show you how to complete the rest of it. So it looks like it needs it more so up this end, up this top end. I think I'd like to leave the trunk the way it is. There's some really nice detail in that, but we'll see what we can do with this top of it, the tree. So not only pressure, but leaving it there for a few seconds to, you know, really get into the paper. And I think that's I think that's getting there. I think just a few more. Just a few more. And we'll be there. Yep, okay, I like that. Now, what I did was, where is my chamois? Here it is. I cleaned this stamp off. Now, I'm just going to get the excess ink off with some paper towel. See how much is left? Wow. And then I'm going to clean it because now I want to work on the reflection. So I don't want this everywhere. Now I tried to center the tree up, centered it, because I'm now going to turn the paper over and do the reflection of the tree. Now it's not going to be perfect, but I don't care. So I want to see where that's going to land. It's going to land about there. So I'm just going to pop my paper in again. It's now upside down. Okay, the paper is now upside down. And I'm going to ink this up again. Now I really only want this bottom section of the stamp. So hopefully that's what we'll get. Again, using this stamping tool, I can, if I haven't gone far enough down or whatever, I can just re-ink it. And I'm going to re-ink those because I want that bit of that to be in there and a bit of that to be in there. We're actually going to blur these, so yeah. Now it's not a true reflection, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. So let's just get some more of this ink off here and get this out of the way. So I'm happy with that. At the moment it doesn't look very good. Yeah, I can hear you saying, what is she doing? But, you know, if you have a play around with this technique, yeah, you'll see that it's quite good. Okay, so I can take this out now. It doesn't really look anything like that, does it? No. But this is the next thing I'm going to do, okay? Now I'm just going to pop this down just in case I make a mess. And I have this small little block, and as you can see, it's got black ink on it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to take the edge of this, just inking it up, and I want to blur, just blur that a bit. And I'm just going to go across here like this. And this is our horizon, you might as well say. It's our horizon. Now you can create little illusions that there are other trees and things like that in the background. And all I'm doing that with is the corner of the block. So you can see that I'm just doing that. Okay. So I just want some more ink. I'm just blurring this tree a bit. That's done. Now I'm taking my wet paintbrush again, and I'm just dripping this down. I'm just pulling the ink down to the bottom of the page, just with the water. Now I can blot that up if it's too dark, but I'm just going to keep going with that till I get the look that I want. And I think I'm pretty much happy with that. Now, if you put too much on, you can just blot it up with your paper towel. But I like that. I think I like that. And if you think that it's not dark enough on that horizon line, go back in. Like, I just don't think it's dark enough on this side. So, yep. Just gonna go back in and add some more. Yeah, think outside the box, guys. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to overwork the paper. I don't want to overwork the design. So there we've got it. So let's pop that over there. Ugh, look, yuck. Where's my chamois? Now you're not going to get two the same, as I said, because it just depends. But I can go back in with some of these colours if I want to. You know, I can make a really pale background there, just behind the tree trunk if I want to. Now I'm going to let that dry. Well, actually I'm not going to let it dry. I'm going to force it to dry. And then we're going to assemble this card. Now, to get the greeting on the pumpkin pie piece, I have set up the tiny little stamp up there. So I have my piece of pumpkin pie, which is matte 1. I'm going to pop it down here in the corner because I've already lined this up. So I'm going to ink this up with the tuxedo black. And I'm going to stamp this. Now, not a lot of pressure because it's a really small greeting, and it's very fine. If you start smushing it, you're going to distort the text. So we'll just clean this up, and I'll just pop it over there, out of the way. Okay. So now we're going to get on to making this. Now, while I'm making it, I thought I'd talk about the kangaroo. Who doesn't know what a kangaroo is? I mean, that is basically the symbol of Australia. And the red kangaroo is actually the largest of the kangaroos. Now, they come from a family called macropods. And macropod, loosely translated, means big feet. Large foot. Now, wallabies, wallaroos, tree kangaroos, pademelons, we talked about pademelons, they all come in that family of macropods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this straight onto our black mat, just like this. Now, the red kangaroo, as I said, is the largest species, and he can actually stand, the males are bigger than the females, like 2 meters tall, or that's 6'7". 6'7". That's taller than my husband. And they can weigh up to 90 kilograms or 200 pounds. So they're big boys. They are big boys. Now, generally speaking, they're pretty benign animals. They don't physically go out and attack you unless they're threatened, unless they're in danger, unless they've been cornered. They will box one another. They have been known to fight one another when breeding season is on, and or if there is limited water around. Now, they travel in mobs. They're called mobs. And so the males can be quite aggressive and the females, I believe, too, can be a bit aggressive. If there's limited water and another mob comes into their territory to drink their water, they're going to defend that, aren't they? Now, they have a pouch. They are marsupials. They have these really big back legs, these really, really big back legs, and they have the smaller forearms, but they're very strong. If you can look and see, his shoulder area is very, very strong there as well. Now, their head is relatively small to their body in relationship to their body, but their tail is extremely long. Now, the babies are really, really tiny when they're first born, and they're like a little embryo, and they're only about, probably only about this big. And this poor little embryo that's only pretty much got a head, a body, and two forearms that are not even formed yet, crawls from the birth canal, crawls up the mother's stomach, through the thick fur, climbs into the pouch, this tiny little thing, and then it attaches itself to a teat in there, and it will stay in there. Let me see how long it stays in there. I have notes because I don't know all this stuff off the top of my head. It stays in there for about 9 months. That's when they start leaving the pouch. Now, they're still developing. They're usually developed by about 36 days. Well, that's when they're born. That's when they crawl into the pouch. But by 18 months old, they're still fed by their mother. So after about 18 months old, they're pretty much, you know, on their own. But the females are basically can be pregnant. As soon as that little baby attaches to this teat, that female kangaroo can be pregnant. But here's the thing. Here's the smart Mother Nature thing. That pregnancy is put on hold. Now, if there are drought times or if there's food shortages in their areas, that pregnancy will just be frozen until things get better. Isn't that amazing? That is so amazing. Now, kangaroos have been very important in Australian culture, especially Aboriginal culture. They're very, very important. They use everything just about. They use them for food, the meat for food. They use the hides, the skins. They use the bones and the tendons. Now, those big tendons in those hind legs are like really strong, really strong. So they use those as well in their tools and things like that. They also feature very heavily in the dreaming stories. So, yeah, kangaroos are very, very important. And what we say is if you see a kangaroo that has been hit by a car or a truck, and let's just say 9 out of 10 animals that do have collisions in Australia with cars or trucks are kangaroos, because they can bound very quickly across a road. You wouldn't even see them coming. Their leap is very, very long, and they can bound over fences. So if they're hit by a car, they can cause a lot of damage, specifically if they are these big fellas. If they hit the car in mid-bound, they quite literally can go through your windscreen and cause a lot of damage also to the occupants. I guess it's like deer over in the US. But if you come across a kangaroo that has been killed on the side of the road, and you are able to, check the pouch, because there might be a joey in there that has survived the impact but will now either starve to death or, you know, whatever. So, yeah, very important to check the pouches. So, and we have these wildlife services in New South Wales specifically, we have one called wires. And you can call wires if you hit a kangaroo or you see a kangaroo being hit. You can call wires if you're in New South Wales, and it's 1300 and then WIRES for wires. So that's handy to have that in your mobile if you're travelling throughout New South Wales. Other states have their own. In Tasmania, my gorgeous, gorgeous nephew Duncan and his family are those people. They will go out, they will see if there is a kangaroo joey in the pouch or whatever, and they will take it back, rehabilitate it, feed it, and then release it back in the wild. So, yeah, that's my shameful plug for the Kanamaluka Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre, which is run by Duncan and his partner Jess and their family. So, yeah, Australian animals are very, very important to Australia, obviously. These are not pest animals. These are not introduced animals. These are animals that were here before we even came here. So they deserve their place in nature. So I'm going to pop this together now. So you can see that where the positioning is of that stamp. So I've put it so that I can kind of line this edge up here. The eye will go across the card like this. So I'm gluing that straight down, not bumping it up on dimensionals or anything like that, just gluing it straight down. Now, to me, this could be a bloke card. That's not to say it must be for a bloke. I like these colours. I like this tree. So, but sometimes it's difficult to find a design that you know, will work for both genders. And I think this one kind of really nails it. So that's going on there like that. This is then going onto our Pebble Path card. And then we'll concentrate on the inside of the card. So I've had a lot of things to say today. I mean, what else is new? So I'm just going to hold that down now. That could be a little bit warpy, so just, you know, you may need more glue or whatever. So there's our beautiful, beautiful card. Now on the inside, I just thought, now what would you put? You've got this. It could be a sympathy card. It could just be a sending it out to encourage, an encouragement card. Now it could be somebody that's going through a difficult time. So what I did was I just made the basic beige the same size as the matte on the front, which was matte 1. I'm going to use our Memento Black again, and I'm just inking this up. I've put these two stamps together on the same block. It says faith is being sure of what we cannot see. Now I really like that. It's not specific to anything in particular. So I'm just going to pop that hopefully in the center somewhere and hopefully straight. Now I'm not stamping it after I glue it in, because if I bugger it up, I can turn it around. So let's just have a look. Well, that looks pretty good. It's as good as it's going to get. So that's going inside the card, and I'm just going to glue that straight down. So we've got these neutrals happening with a very, very strong pop of colour, and I think it works really, really well. So I hope you've liked this card. I hope you liked card sketch number 1, which I will trot out again. Let me get all this stuff out of the way before I knock it all over. And get rid of all the rubbish around the place. Where did I put it? Where did I put card number 1? Card sketch 1. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Stop looking. Stop looking. I found it. So there are the two cards. Now, as I said, you can muck around with this watercolour. If you feel that's too dark, just put a bit of water on it, blot it back up with your paper towel. That is card sketch number 2. I think that's a nice fun little card. You could pop a little coffee voucher card in there. And here's our watercolour card. Now look, please like, subscribe and share. If you really like these videos, and I hope you do, and you'd like to continue having these free card making tutorials, then please do. The algorithms on the blah la la on YouTube, if I don't get enough likes, if I don't get enough subscribers, they could well cancel the whole deal. But I don't want it to cancel because I enjoy doing it. I love bringing them to you. I love you guys commenting, and yeah, so if you could like, subscribe, share. If you need anything, you can go to my online store, which is here. If you'd like to have the templates or indeed have any questions, there's my email address. Alternatively, you can put those questions in the comments. I do look at them every time I post a video. And there is our card sketch number 2. 2 in a series of 22. So thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, stay safe, everybody. Stay dry if you're in beautiful downtown Sydney. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now. Bye.